Ion by Plato, translated by Benjamin Jowett.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.
Persons of the dialogue. Socrates, Ion. Socrates: Welcome, Ion. Are you from your native city of Ephesus? Ion: No, Socrates, but from Epidaurus, where I attended the festival of Asclepius. Socrates: And do the Epidaurians have a contest of rhapsodes at the festival? Ion: Oh yes, and of all sorts of musical performers. Socrates: And were you one of the competitors? And did you succeed? Ion: I obtained the first prize of all, Socrates. Socrates: Well done, and I hope that you will do the same for us at the Panathenaea. Ion: And I will, please heaven. Socrates: I often envy the profession of a rhapsode, Ion, for you have always to wear fine clothes, and to look as beautiful as you can is a part of your art. Then again, you are obliged to be continually in the company of many good poets, especially of Homer, who is the best and most divine of them, and to understand him, and not merely learn his words by rote, is a thing greatly to be envied. And no man can be a rhapsode who does not understand the meaning of the poet, for the rhapsode ought to interpret the mind of the poet to his hearers. But how can he interpret him well unless he knows what he means? All this is greatly to be envied. Ion: Very true, Socrates. Interpretation has certainly been the most laborious part of my art, and I believe myself able to speak about Homer better than any man, and that neither Metrodorus of Lampsacus, nor Stesimbrotus of Thasos, nor Glaucon, nor anyone else who ever was, had as good ideas about Homer as I have, or as many. Socrates: I am glad to hear you say so, Ion. I see that you will not refuse to acquaint me with them. Ion: Certainly, Socrates, and you really ought to hear how exquisitely I render Homer. I think that Homeridae should give me a golden crown. Socrates: I shall take the opportunity of hearing your embellishments of him at some other time. Just now, I should like to ask you a question. Does your art extend to Hesiod and Archilochus, or to Homer only? Ion: To Homer only.
He in himself is quite enough.
Socrates: Are there many things about which Homer and Hesiod agree? Ion: Yes, in my opinion there are a good many. Socrates: And can you interpret better what Homer says, or what Hesiod says, about these matters in which they agree? Ion: I can interpret them equally well, Socrates, where they agree. Socrates: But what about matters in which they do not agree? For example, about divination, of which both Homer and Hesiod have something to say. Ion: Very true. Socrates: Would you or a good prophet be a better interpreter of what these two poets say about divination, not only when they agree, but when they disagree? Ion: A prophet. Socrates: And if you were a prophet, would you not be able to interpret them when they disagree as well as when they agree? Ion: Clearly. Socrates: But how did you come to have this skill about Homer only, and not about Hesiod or the other poets? Does not Homer speak of the same themes which all the other poets handle? Is not war his great argument? And does not he speak of human society, and of intercourse of men, good and bad, skilled and unskilled, and of the gods conversing with one another, and with mankind, and about what happens in heaven and in the world below, and the generations of gods and heroes, are not these the themes of which Homer sings? Ion: Very true, Socrates. Socrates: And do not the other poets sing of the same? Ion: Yes, Socrates, but not in the same way as Homer. Socrates: What, in a worse way? Ion: Yes, in a far worse. Socrates: And Homer in a better way? Ion: He is incomparably better. Socrates: And yet surely, my dear friend Ion, in a discussion about arithmetic, where many people are speaking, and one speaks better than the rest, there is somebody who can judge which of them is the good speaker. Ion: Yes. Socrates: And he who judges the good will be the same as he who judges of the bad speakers? Ion: The same. Socrates: And will he be the arithmetician? Ion: Yes. Socrates: Well, and in discussion about the wholesomeness of food, when many persons are speaking, and one speaks better than the rest, will he who recognizes the better speaker be a different person from he who recognizes the worse, or the same? Ion: Clearly the same. Socrates: And who is he, and what is his name? Ion: The physician. Socrates: And speaking generally, in all discussions in which the subject is the same, and many men are speaking, will not he who knows the good know the bad speaker also? For if he does not know the bad, neither will he know the good when the same topic is being discussed. Ion: True. Socrates: Is not the same person skillful in both? Ion: Yes. Socrates: And you say that Homer and the other poets, such as Hesiod and Archilochus, speak of the same things, although not in the same way, but the one speaks well, and the other not so well. Ion: Yes, and I am right in saying so. Socrates: And if you knew the good speaker, you would also know the inferior speakers to be inferior. Ion: That is true. Socrates: Then, my dear friend, can I be mistaken in saying that Ion is equally skilled in Homer and in other poets, since he himself acknowledges that the same person will be a good judge of all those who speak of the same things, and that almost all poets do speak of the same things? Ion: Why then, Socrates, do I lose attention and go to sleep, and have absolutely no ideas of the least value when anyone speaks of any other poet? But when Homer is mentioned, I wake up at once, and am all attention, and have plenty to say. Socrates: The reason, my friend, is obvious. No one can fail to see that you speak of Homer without any art or knowledge. If you were able to speak of him by rules of art, you would have been able to speak of all other poets, for poetry is a whole. Ion: Yes. Socrates: And when anyone acquires any other art as a whole, the same may be said of them.
Would you like me to explain my meaning, Ion?
Ion: Yes, indeed, Socrates. I very much wish that you would, for I love to hear you wise men talk. Socrates: Oh, that we were wise, Ion, and that you could truly call us so. But you rhapsodes and actors, and the poets whose verses you sing, are wise, whereas I am a common man who only speak the truth. For consider what a very commonplace and trivial thing it is which I have said, a thing which any man might say, that when a man has acquired a knowledge of a whole art, the inquiry into good and bad is one and the same. Let us consider this matter. Is not the art of painting a whole? Ion: Yes.